your dryer making a scraping noise when it's running? Perhaps you're getting tears or black streaks on your clothing? Those are both signs of a defective drum bearing. Hi, it's Steve from Parts Select. In this video, we'd like to show you how easy it is to inspect and/or change the front drum bearing on your dryer. Although this dryer may be different than your model, the procedure for inspecting and replacing the front drum bearing is very similar. Now that we've disconnected the power, our next step will be to gain access to the front of our dryer. On this particular model, that means we'll need to remove the lint filter and two screws that secure the main top to that inlet duct assembly. We want to make sure that we don't drop these two screws down into that inlet duct assembly. So we typically will just put a little rag in there. Now with those retaining screws removed, we're now ready to raise the main top. Now with this particular model of dryer that we have here, there are two clips that secure that main top to the front panel. Now you can either use a putty knife and slide it in there, locate those spring clips, depress them while lifting up on the main top. Or again, with this particular model, all we need to do is pull that top towards us and release it. With the top released from the mounting clips, we're then able to tilt it back. And we want to make sure that we can lean that against the wall to support it or have somebody hold it in place. Now before we can remove that front panel, we'll need to locate the wire harness to the door switch. On this particular style of dryer, the door switch is located in the upper right-hand corner and the harness will be located right behind it. We simply need to separate the locking tabs and the two halves of the harness. Now with this model of dryer, we have two screws in the upper corners of that front panel that secure the front panel to the cabinet. So we'll need to remove those, and as you remove the last one, be sure to support the front panel. Now with the front panel pulled away from the cabinet, we're next going to grasp both sides of it and we'll lift it off of the base frame. Now on the particular style of dryer that we have here today, our front bearing is actually two separate components. There is a nylon bearing attached to the front of the drum, and as well there is a felt seal and bearing attached to the bulkhead. With the bulkhead seal, the lower half is basically just a felt seal to prevent excess air from getting into the drum. The top portion of it is a thick felt bearing that supports the weight of the drum. Now as well with this style of dryer, we have a bearing that attaches to the front of the drum. It simply snaps into place on it, and that rides up against the felt portion of the bearing that is located on the front panel. If there are any signs of damage or splitting or cracking on this portion, you'll need to replace it. And if there's excess wear on the felt, you would want to replace that component. Now if we need to replace that split bearing on the drum, we simply need to squeeze together these little plastic tabs and remove the old piece. The new one just lines up and snaps into position. Now if we've detected some damage to the felt portion of this bearing, we'll need to replace that as well. For this model of dryer, we simply need to grasp that felt seal near the bottom, peel it away from that flange. On the top edge, there are a couple of locating tabs to help align that top portion. The next thing we'll need to make sure of is that we have the proper side of the bearing turned up. We want to make sure that where the felt is attached to the bearing, you'll see that it is extended underneath of that, and that will be the bottom portion. So then we'll just fit that felt all the way around that flange. And it's important that we fold that edge over as we install the front panel back into the dryer to make sure that the edge of the drum is sitting on that face and not on the back side. Now when reinstalling that front panel bulkhead assembly, we'll want to make sure that we line up either the tabs across the bottom of the cabinet, or in the case of this model, the ones on the side of the cabinet. Make sure that they line up. Now with the bottom of that front panel firmly attached, you may find that you need to lift up on that drum to fit your front bearing in underneath the lip of that drum. And then we can secure the front panel. Thank you so much for watching this video. We certainly hope that the tips we showed you today will give you the confidence to change the front drum bearing on your dryer. For more videos on appliance repair, maintenance, and cleaning tips, be sure to visit our website. And hey, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing.